Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going straight into something really vital for, well, modern life.
hmm
Breathing exercises specifically for stress relief.
Mm.
You've shared a pretty comprehensive set of resources with us: NHS, Healthline, British Heart Foundation, WebMD, JED Foundation, American Lung Association. Quite the list.
Yeah, a good range.
So our mission today is really to cut through all that and give you some really effective, immediately usable techniques,
Well,
things to help dial down that feeling of being overwhelmed.
exactly. If you're juggling a lot, maybe gearing up for something demanding, or you're just feeling that constant sort of hum of daily stress,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Right.
And we're not just going to list exercises. We want to give you actionable steps and a clearer picture of why they work,
Yeah.
hopefully leading to some of those aha moments.
Yeah, understanding the why is key.
You'll see how directly you can actually influence your own stress levels. It's pretty empowering.
And what's great about these sources is the sheer range, isn't it? We're looking at everything from the fundamental techniques you can use anytime
Right. The basics.
to more specific methods for, say, improving sleep or handling those moments of really intense anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. Think of this as us helping you build a kind of personal, adaptable toolkit for calm, something you can really tailor.
Okay, so where do we start? Maybe the fundamentals.
Let's begin right there, looking at the basic connection between your breathing and how your body actually responds to stress.
Okay.
So, as the British Heart Foundation and the American Lung Association point out, when stress kicks in, your body goes into that classic fight or flight mode.
Right, the survival mechanism.
Exactly. You get this surge of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol,
Hmm.
and that triggers a faster heart rate, quicker breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's usually shallower too.
You definitely feel that keyed up sensation.
Yeah, it's a whole cascade of changes designed to get you ready for immediate action.
Problem is, we're often not facing a tiger these days.
Just emails.
Just emails, exactly. But the body reacts the same way.
So what's the flip side? How does breathing help? Well, that's the really interesting part. The BHF also talks about how intentionally slowing down and deepening your breath can trigger the body's relaxation response.
Ah, okay. So it's like an off switch we have built in.
Precisely.
Uh-huh.
And a real cornerstone of shifting from that stressed fight or flight state to a calmer one is diaphragmatic breathing. You'll often hear it called belly breathing.
Right, I've heard that term.
The BHF really emphasizes the role of the diaphragm, that big muscle at the base of your chest. Using it properly allows for much fuller, deeper breaths.
How do you know if you're doing it right?
Well, Healthline and WebMD give a good tip. Put one hand on your upper chest and the other just below your rib cage.
Okay.
As you inhale deeply, ideally through your nose, you should feel the lower hand rise more than the upper one. That shows your diaphragm is working, pulling the air deep into your lungs.
So the chest stays relatively still?
Relatively still, yeah.
Yeah.
The main action is lower down. And what's happening physiologically is that this deep breathing stimulates the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Yeah, it's a major nerve that runs through the body and plays a key role in activating your parasympathetic nervous system,
That is
the rest and digest system, the opposite of fight or flight.
Got it. So deep breathing is like sending a signal saying, okay, threat over, time to calm down.
You've got it. And the JED Foundation makes a really crucial point here, too. When we're stressed, we often fall into that pattern of quick, shallow chest breathing.
Which does the opposite, right?
Exactly. It can actually keep your body locked in that stress cycle. So consciously switching to deep diaphragmatic breathing is about actively interrupting that cycle and telling your body it's safe to relax.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about taking conscious control.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get practical. Let's talk about a really foundational technique that pops up in several sources. Just gentle, deep breathing.
Okay, the core practice.
The NHS has a really straightforward approach. First, find a comfortable position. That could be standing, sitting upright, maybe lying down, whatever works for you.
Comfort is key.
Definitely. And loosen any tight clothing, especially around your waist or chest, so your breath can move freely.
Makes sense.
If you're sitting or standing, having your feet about hip width apart can help you feel a bit more grounded and stable.
Okay, got the setup. Then what?
Then it's simply about letting your breath flow in deeply and gently, feeling it fill your belly. The key is without forcing it, no straining.
Just natural deep breaths.
Exactly. The NHS suggests breathing in slowly through your nose, if that's comfortable, and then exhaling gently through your mouth.
In through the nose, out through the mouth.
Yeah, though breathing out through the nose is fine too, if that feels better. They also mention an optional count, like counting 1 to 5 as you inhale and 1 to 5 as you exhale.
That helps regulate the pace, I guess.
It does,
Yeah.
especially when you're starting out. But the main thing they emphasize, regularity, consistency.
So doing it often is more important than doing it for ages.
Right. Aim for at least 5 minutes each day. Make it a habit. That's where you really start to see the benefits build up.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Gentle, deep, regular breathing. What about more specific techniques?
Yeah, building on that, the sources detail several others, each with a slightly different focus or benefit. Let's look at pursed lip breathing first. Healthline covered this one.
Pursed lip. Like you're going to whistle.
Kind of, yeah. It's a more deliberate technique aimed at slowing your breathing rate right down.
How does it work?
You inhale slowly through your nose, maybe for a count of 2. Then you purse your lips, like you said, as if you're about to blow out a candle, and exhale slowly and gently through them for a longer count, say 4 seconds.
In for 2, out for 4, through pursed lips.
Exactly. The longer exhale is key. It helps release trapped air and slows everything down. Healthline notes it can be really useful during exercise if you get breathless, or even in moments of high anxiety to regain control.
Okay, that sounds practical. What's next?
Let's go back to diaphragmatic breathing, but in a bit more detail, based on Healthline's description.
Okay, more on the belly breathing.
They suggest trying it lying on your back initially. Knees bent, maybe a pillow under your head or knees for comfort.
Setting up for relaxation.
Right. And again, the hand placement.
Ah.
One on the upper chest, one below the rib cage.
Checking the movement.
Precisely. Focus on inhaling slowly through your nose, really feeling that lower hand rise as your belly expands with air. Try to keep the top hand relatively still.
So consciously directing the breath downwards.
Yes. Then exhale slowly through pursed lips, maybe gently tightening your abdominal muscles towards the end of the exhale to help push the air out.
Okay. And Healthline mentioned other benefits for this one.
They did, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Beyond just stress relief, they note it may help manage symptoms linked to things like COPD, some heart issues, high blood pressure, even migraines.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it highlights just how fundamental good breathing patterns are for overall physiological function. It's not just about feeling calm. It affects the whole system.
That's quite profound. Okay, what else?
How about the breath focus technique? Healthline and WebMD both mention this one. It adds a mental component.
Okay, bringing the mind into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You combine that gentle, deep breathing with imagery and a focus word or phrase. Something calming that resonates with you, like peace or let go or just calm.
So you think the word as you breathe.
Yeah, or you visualize it. You might imagine breathing in peace and calm as you inhale. And then imagine breathing out tension, anxiety, stress as you exhale. Really visualizing it leaving your body.
Like a mental cleanse with each breath.
That's a great way to put it. Healthline suggests starting with maybe 10 minutes for this to really get into it, and you can build up to 20 minutes as you get comfortable.
Okay, combining breath and intention. What about something different? I saw lion's breath mentioned.
Ah, yes, lion's breath. Healthline and WebMD both describe this. It's definitely more expressive and quite energizing.
How does that work?
Okay, so typically you're seated, maybe kneeling or cross-legged. Place your palms on your knees, fingers spread wide like claws.
Okay, feeling fierce.
Then you take a really deep inhale through your nose, maybe open your eyes wide, and on the exhale, you open your mouth really wide, stick your tongue out, aiming it down towards your chin.
Whoa.
And you make an audible ha sound from the back of your throat, like a real guttural exhale.
Wow, okay. What's the point of all that?
It's fantastic for releasing tension, especially in the jaw and face. We hold a lot of stress there, clenching without realizing it. It's a very direct way to let that go. Healthline suggests maybe 2-3 repetitions.
I can see how that would feel like a release. A bit intense maybe for the office, though.
Perhaps. WebMD also mentions a slightly simpler version, focusing more on just the big inhale and the forceful HA exhale with the wide open mouth, maybe without the full tongue extension. It still gives you that sense of release.
Good to have options. What about alternate nostril breathing? That sounds intriguing.
Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Yeah, both Healthline and the BHF highlight this one. It's very well known in yoga traditions for its calming and balancing effects.
Balancing. How so?
The idea is that it balances the energy flow in the body. Practically, studies suggest it can enhance cardiovascular function and might help lower heart rate.
Okay. How do you actually do it?
Right. Healthline recommends doing it on an empty stomach and avoiding it if you're stuffed up.
Makes sense.
You sit comfortably, take your right hand, usually folding down the index and middle fingers, so you use your thumb and ring pinky finger.
Okay, got the hand position.
Gently close your right nostril with your thumb. Inhale slowly and deeply through your left nostril.
In through the left.
Then, close the left nostril with your ring pinky finger, release the thumb from the right nostril, and exhale slowly through the right.
Out through the right.
Then you inhale through the right nostril.
Okay.
Close the right nostril again with the thumb, release the fingers from the left, and exhale through the left. That's one full cycle.
In left, out right, in right, out left.
Exactly. You continue that pattern, smoothly alternating for maybe up to 5 minutes, always ending with an exhale through the left nostril.
It sounds like it would require some focus.
It does, which is part of its benefit. It draws your attention inward and has a very calming rhythm once you get the hang of it.
Interesting. What about equal breathing?
Samavriti. Healthline explains this one. It's beautifully simple, really, all about creating balance, just like the name suggests.
Oh.
You simply make your inhale and your exhale the same length, usually breathing gently through the nose.
Okay, so counting again.
Yeah, counting helps. So you might inhale for a count of, say, 4, and then exhale for a count of 4, or 3 or 5, whatever feels comfortable and steady.
In for 4, out for 4. Simple.
Very. Some variations add a tiny pause after the inhale and after the exhale, but the core is just matching the length. Healthline mentions research suggesting it might boost mental well-being and possibly oxygen supply, particularly for older adults with high blood pressure.
Then another straightforward one with potential benefits. Okay, keep them coming.
All right, how about resonant or coherent breathing? Healthline details this. It's a bit more specific about the timing.
Resonant sounds harmonious.
It kind of is. The aim is to breathe at a very specific rate, about 5 full breaths per minute.
5 breaths a minute. That sounds slow.
It is quite slow. It usually translates to inhaling for about 5 seconds and exhaling for about 5 seconds.
Okay, similar to equal breathing, but at a specific pace. Why that rate?
That particular rhythm seems to maximize something called heart rate variability, or HRV.
HRV. I've heard of that. It's good to have high HRV, right?
Generally, yes. Higher HRV indicates your nervous system is adaptable and resilient to stress. Breathing at this resonant frequency seems to enhance HRV and reduce overall stress. Healthline even mentions a study linking it, especially with yoga, to reduce depression symptoms.
Wow, that's specific. Breathing at 5 breaths per minute for better stress resilience. Okay.
Then there's Sitali breath. This one's known for its cooling effect.
Cooling. How on earth does breathing cool you down?
Healthline explains it. You either curl the sides of your tongue lengthwise, making a tube shape if you can do that genetically.
Oh, I'm not sure I can.
Not everyone can. If you can't, you just purse your lips into a small O shape instead.
Okay, the O shape I can manage.
Then you inhale slowly through that curled tongue or pursed lips, like sipping air through a straw. You might actually feel the air is cooler.
Huh.
And then you just exhale normally through your nose. Practicing for up to 5 minutes can feel quite refreshing and calming, especially if you're feeling hot or agitated.
That's a neat trick. Any downsides?
Well, because you're breathing in through your mouth, you bypass the natural filtering of your nose. So, Healthline advises being mindful of air quality or allergens. Probably not one to do in heavy pollution.
Good point. Okay, what does the American Lung Association add to the mix?
They offer a very accessible deep breathing technique, too. They suggest sitting or standing and gently drawing your elbows back slightly.
Why the elbows?
It helps to open up the chest naturally, allowing for a fuller inhale.
Ah.
Then just take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a count of 5, if comfortable. And then exhale slowly and completely through your nose.
Inhale, hold 5, exhale. Simple, focused.
Yeah, presented as a good way to ease shortness of breath and just generally promote relaxation. Very straightforward.
Got it. What about humming bee breath? That name definitely caught my eye.
Brahmari pranayama, yes. Healthline describes this one. It's really lovely, known for creating an almost instant sense of calm, especially around the forehead and mind.
Instant calm. I like the sound of that. How?
Okay, so you close your eyes, relax your face. Then you take your index fingers and place them gently on the tragus, that little bit of cartilage covering the ear canal opening.
Okay. Fingers on the ears.
You take a breath in. Then, as you exhale slowly with your mouth closed, you make a low-pitched humming sound, like a bee buzzing. While you're humming, you gently press the tragus cartilage in and out, or just hold it gently pressed.
So you hum and sort of block your ears slightly.
Essentially, yes. The vibration of the hum inside your head, combined with the quiet, is incredibly soothing. It's said to help dissolve frustration, anxiety, anger. Some studies suggest it might lower heart rate and blood pressure, improve concentration. It feels quite immersive.
That sounds really intriguing. Definitely one to try in a quiet space.
for sure. Now, box breathing. This is a classic, mentioned by the BHF, JED Foundation, and the American Lung Association. Very structured.
Box breathing, like 4 sides.
Exactly. It's a 4-part cycle, and each part has the same count, usually 4 seconds.
Okay, what are the 4 parts?
Inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath gently for 4, exhale slowly for 4, and then hold the breath out for 4.
In 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4, like drawing a box with your breath.
Precisely. The JED Foundation even mentions using a visual, like imagining a square or a flower expanding and contracting, to help keep the rhythm.
That visual helps. What's the benefit of the holds?
The holds seem to help regulate the nervous system. The American Lung Association suggests really focusing on softening your body, releasing any tension during those pauses. It builds focus and calm control. Very popular with, like, Navy SEALs, first responders.
Really? Okay, so it's good under pressure.
Apparently so. Then there's 4-7-8 breathing. Also quite well known, mentioned by the BHF, Healthline, and JED Foundation. Developed by Dr. Andrew Weil.
4, 7, 8. Specific numbers again?
Yes, it follows a specific ratio, thought to be particularly relaxing. You inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4.
Okay, 4.
Then you hold your breath for a count of 7.
7, hold. Longer hold this time.
Yes. And then you exhale completely and forcefully through your mouth, making a distinct whoosh sound for a count of 8.
8 out with a whoosh. That's a long exhale.
It is. Pursed lips can help control that long exhale. And there's a specific tongue position. Keep the tip of your tongue just behind your upper front teeth throughout the whole cycle.
Tongue stays put. 4 in, hold 7, whoosh out 8.
That's the one. It's considered quite potent for relaxation, even helping with sleep. But they advise starting slow, maybe just 4 repetitions at first.
Why start slow?
You might feel a bit lightheaded initially because you're changing your oxygen CO2 balance quite deliberately. So build up gradually, maybe eventually working up to 8 repetitions.
Okay, potent but start gently. Got it. Are there any simpler ones left?
Absolutely. The American Lung Association mentions just simply extending the exhale. No complex counts.
Just breathe out longer.
Yeah. Breathe in normally, whatever feels natural. Then consciously make your exhale longer than your inhale. Keep repeating that. The longer exhale helps activate the relaxation response. Very simple, very effective.
That seems super accessible.
It really is. They also mentioned the physiological sigh. This is something your body actually does automatically sometimes.
Oh yeah, like a big sigh.
Sort of, but it's specific. It's usually 2 quick inhales through the nose, followed by 1 long, full exhale through the mouth.
2 inhales, 1 long exhale.
Right. It helps to reinflate tiny air sacs in the lungs and apparently acts as a rapid reset for the nervous system. You can do it consciously when you feel stressed. Just inhale again quickly, then long exhale.
Another quick reset tool. Nice.
And for people who might find focusing on breath patterns difficult, maybe due to breathing restrictions or just preference, the American Lung Association has alternatives.
Like what?
One is the Take 5 method. It's more of a grounding technique using your senses.
Oh, the senses one. How does that go again?
You intentionally notice
Mm-hmm.
5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically feel, like your feet on the floor, the chair supporting you, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
See 5, feel 4, hear 3, smell 2, taste 1.
Exactly. It shifts your focus completely away from the stressful thoughts and into the present moment, which helps regulate your system and indirectly your breathing.
A different route to calm.
Yeah. And another simple one they suggest, if patterns are tricky, just notice the temperature of your breath. Feel the coolness of the air as you inhale through your nose and the slight warmth as you exhale. Just that simple sensory focus can be grounding.
Focusing on sensation, not control. Okay, that's a really comprehensive list of techniques.
It is. There's a lot to choose from.
So the big question then is, how do you actually make this part of your life? It's one thing knowing them, another doing them.
That's absolutely critical. Healthline offers good advice here. Start small. Really small. Maybe just 2 to 5 minutes a day.
Not a huge commitment.
No. Make it achievable, sustainable. Then, as you get comfortable and start feeling the benefits, you can gradually increase the time if you want.
And frequency. Once a day.
You could aim for once a day as a baseline, but Healthline also suggests practicing multiple times if possible. Maybe short sessions scheduled in, or just using a technique whenever you feel stress rising during the day.
Like a mini break.
Exactly.
Mm.
The NHS emphasizes how accessible these are. You can do most of them basically anywhere. Sitting at your desk, waiting in line, on the bus.
That's a huge plus. No special equipment needed.
Nope. Now, sure, comfortable clothing in a quiet space can be nice, as WebMD and the NHS mentioned, especially for longer sessions, but the real power is having these tools available whenever and wherever you need them.
And WebMD had a reminder about not forcing it.
Yes, crucial point. Don't force the breath. If you're straining or feeling tense trying to do an exercise, it defeats the purpose. Keep it gentle.
Right, ease is key. Any other practical tips?
A couple of important ones. Healthline and the BHF both advise checking with your doctor if you have any underlying health conditions or are on medication, just to be safe.
Good advice. Standard disclaimer.
And universally, all sources say, if you feel dizzy, uncomfortable, or more agitated doing an exercise, stop. Listen to your body. Not every technique works for everyone, or maybe you need to adjust it.
Stop it feels wrong. Makes sense.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground on breathing itself. Did the sources mention anything beyond these core techniques?
Yeah, a few things. WebMD brought up progressive muscle relaxation,
Ah, PMR. Good one.
which often uses breath alongside tensing and releasing muscle groups, right? Another good stress reliever.
Definitely. And Healthline suggested that if you want to go deeper, resources like yoga teachers or respiratory therapists can offer more specialized guidance.
Right, for more in-depth exploration.
The BHF also briefly touched on an interesting link, how practices like deep breathing, especially within yoga, might boost melatonin levels.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Exactly. Suggesting a connection between regular conscious breathing and potentially better sleep quality.
That's a nice bonus.
And the JED Foundation offered a really important perspective check. Breathing exercises are a fantastic tool, but they're usually one part of a bigger picture for managing stress.
So not a magic bullet on their own.
Right. For significant or ongoing stress, professional support, like talking to a therapist, can be really crucial. And the American Lung Association added that sometimes, for really big stressors, the most effective step is actually addressing the source, removing yourself from it, taking a real break, changing the situation if possible.
So use breathing exercises, but also look at the bigger context and seek help when needed.
Perfectly put. It's about having a range of tools in your stress management toolkit.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for everyone listening?
I think the core message is just how accessible and genuinely powerful breathing exercises are. They aren't some mystical thing. They're a practical tool you have with you all the time to manage stress and cultivate calm.
Yeah, it's built-in hardware we can learn to use better.
Exactly. And you now have a whole variety of techniques, simple deep breathing, box breathing, 4-7-8, alternate nostril, and others. The next step is really just to explore. Experiment a little.
Find what works for you.
Yeah, see what resonates, what feels good, what fits into your day.
Okay, so here's maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Go for it.
How often do you actually pay attention to your breath during the day? Just consider how consciously shifting your breath, even just for a minute or two, could act like a reset button.
A reset button. I like that.
Think about one small moment of stress you might face tomorrow, maybe before opening your email, or when you feel that afternoon slump. Which one of these techniques could you try, just for 60 seconds, in that moment?
That's a great challenge. Turning knowledge into action, even in a tiny way.
Absolutely. And like we said, what we've covered is really just scratching the surface, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. The resources we looked at show there's so much more information out there if you want to dive deeper into breathwork.
Things like apps, Headspace, got a mention from the JED Foundation.
Right. Apps can be great for guided practice. And of course, talking to health professionals for more personalized advice is always an option.
So the invitation is really to take what you've heard today, maybe pick one thing that sounded interesting, and just try it. See how this simple, fundamental act of breathing can impact your well-being.
Couldn't agree more. Start simple, stay curious.